Hello, Miss Denise and my lovely boy Eric. I love you both.
Hi, Eric says, hi, Mama. He says, I love you. I don't know why, but he's in yellow again. I don't know what the yellow is. He's always like yellow or pink, it seems like.
I think yellow, doesn't it mean happy?
Maybe he's like in yellow. He's in
Well, that's what
yellow.
Arlene says. Oh, yellow means happy, but I don't know. That's just a kid's take
He
on
says,
things.
well, I am happy.
All right.
His energy is yellow.
Oh, that's all a mother could hope for.
Yes,
Her babies to be happy. That's all I care about.
yes, yes.
And grandbabies. All right, so we are going. Paula from Aqua Marina Studios, Productions, uh, brought up this whole topic of hybrid children, and it sounds fascinating. These part human, part ET kids that are apparently in some little community, and I don't know. First of all, Eric, do hybrid children exist? We'll start out with number one.
He says, yes, they do exist. He said, and they are, he said, absolutely they do. He says, and you have a few people in the channeling Eric community who have witnessed to having hybrid children.
They themselves have hybrid children?
Yes, but he says, we'll get into that more
Yeah.
later because I feel like there's questions that are going to talk about
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, like how did ET sneak into the dead of night and creep up under the covers, or what?
He said, no, it's definitely it's an agreement. It's very consensual. He says, it's all consensual. He says, because they don't do things like we do here as far as like rape women or anything like that. And he said, so it's all very consensual. He says, it's very good consensual. The way he's saying that, like they, he he's saying it's like they have outer space sex. I don't know how to. I don't know how to. And
So
and the way yes, and
being a human up to the mothership or something?
it's like they connect energetically. I don't know, or did they come down? But he says you know, they don't have he says now not you can't categorize all of them that way, but he said, and I'm asking him, is it like how they did on that movie Cocoon, which was like ancient? I mean, that movie's probably 30 plus years old, but how their energy just connected,
Yeah.
and it was very um they had an orgasm just by their energy connecting like that.
I
And
remember that.
Eric,
That was a great movie.
oh,
I liked it.
wasn't that a great movie? But he says that yes, it's very enjoyable for both people. He says
Well, is it body to body or spirit to spirit? Or body to spirit? I don't know.
it's he says it's more energy to energy is how he's saying it. So I guess you could say spirit to spirit, but he's showing me like the energy,
Energy. Yeah.
and you're just connected, is what he's saying. But even though there's not a physicalness per se, there is the presence or the essence of all the physicalness.
Weird. I kind
Yeah.
of get that. So, how does the biology take place? How is there an implantation of an embryo of those cells in the human uterus? I get, is it the human that carries the baby or the alien? Or either?
He says that in the very beginning, um, they it's like it's implanted in the womb of the human,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost like when that gets germinated, the way he's showing me, then um, for a certain period of time. Then somehow or another, it finishes its duration, like in a,
Incubator or something?
yeah, is what he's showing me, you know.
Oh, Carrie
And
has described this whole thing. And I thought, really, Carrie? But yeah, she had sex with a alien. I can't remember his name. Gary? I don't know. I can't remember. And the baby started out inside her and then was removed to an incubator. Is that what we're talking about with hybrid kids?
Eric says that's exactly what it is.
Whoa.
Mhm.
So so the human doesn't get to give birth to the hybrid child and raise them, or
No,
sometimes.
no, but that's an agreement that was already had. And, you know, like he says, all of this was prearranged. So it's not like, what do you mean I can't raise my child?
Okay.
But, but I don't get the feeling like there's a, you know, of course, this isn't like 100% all in stone, but I don't get that there's like, if we give birth and then somebody took our baby away, and how we would mourn the loss of that child.
Yeah.
Eric says it's not that. It's like there's an agreement prior to this already made. And I feel like the women who are in agreement with this know this intuitively.
Yeah, I was going to ask. See, Carrie knew it on a conscious level.
Hmm.
Do all of them know it on a conscious level, or do some
They
have
do.
no idea?
No, they all know. They all know. Eric says
Oh,
they all know.
so
It's
they know and recall the act of the of sex, and they know something's growing inside of them, and they know it's removed to an incubator or some other place to finish development, right?
Eric says yes, because he says it's all consensual.
Okay. Does it hurt? I mean, how do they take the baby out?
No, Eric says no, it doesn't hurt. And you know, and I feel like that they're so advanced in the medical field per se,
Hmm.
that how they take I want to say the seedling, but how they take that the baby, or I don't know, the embryo, or it's not that either. But I don't know how what you would call it.
I
He
think
said
seedling sounds cool.
that's what I keep feeling like.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
mean, I
right.
keep getting like a seedling. Um, how they I'm going to say export it, but that's not the correct word. How
Come
they
with me if you want to live, little seedling.
retrieve it, it's like um, they're able to. I don't. He showed me how they're able to come in there and get the baby out and seal you back up, or however. And it's just
Well, how? Do they just do a turkey baster, or suck it out, or what?
Eric has shown me how like they somehow they cut you a little bit on your stomach or something,
Okay.
or like right underneath your navel or something.
Oh,
So he said some people have experienced, you know, like maybe a little scratch or something, because they got, I'm sure it's not medicine, but I'm going to call it that, like medicine to put on you to heal you up instantly.
oh wow. And it probably puts something so you don't feel the little.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because their intent is not to cause harm or pain on anybody. And he says, and that's part of why these hybrid children are coming around. He says is he said some of them are already here
Yeah, I want to
living
talk about
on this
that
planet.
too, but
Yeah.
but that was weird. But I want to finish with this kind of thing. So
Okay.
they're taken out and they're put in something like an incubator. What is it like? Is it a little garden with dirt, fertilizing every once in a while? I mean, what? Where do they grow to the point? What kind of environment to the point where they are self-sufficient? I mean, do they have to nurse? I mean, yeah. What? Wow.
Eric is showing me, and it's so bizarre because you see this on some movies or something, and I'm like, oh my God. But and I can't remember the name of the movies either, but it's jogging a memory. But it's like they have these little seedlings, embryos, babies, or whatever, and it's almost like in a capsule, and it's like I feel like it's continuing in fluid. It's still continuing,
Okay.
I guess kind of similar to the mother's womb, being in all that fluid. So he's showing me, and I'm from what I'm understanding, this is one way how it's done,
Okay.
because from what I'm understanding and getting, it's like it's not one way for everyone.
Oh, so there are more than one way, but that's
Yes.
maybe one of the more
I,
common ways.
I I'm thinking yes, because I'm thinking yes because as Erik is showing me, I feel like this is, and it's he says it's just a more gentler way for people to hear this,
Okay.
because this is kind of bizarre.
Yeah. So how long is the gestation period, and until they hatch? When did they hatch? And also, is somebody overseeing all this kind of all these little eggs?
He said yes, it's the
Capsules.
males.
It's a
But they
male.
also, the males are watching, the males are raising the babies for, he says, for the most part, but they have like a village that also helps out. It's not like here where you're on your own, they
Yeah.
have like a village type community. He says the males are very active um, parents,
Okay.
role models, and but there is medical type people observing, and watching and nurturing and taking care of everything
Yeah.
as time goes on. And I'm asking how long is the gestation period, the period for the um,
Before they're
it,
taken out of the capsule or whatever.
he's he's given me 9 months to 12, 9 to 12 months.
Oh, okay. So they are hatched automatically, or the male say, "All right, time's up."
Erik has shown me they just start um, it's like they start showing like they're ready to
Okay.
progress to the next stage, like they're ready to move from that to the crib, so this,
Yeah.
you know
And so the male aliens, they somehow get them out of the capsule, like break it open or something, right?
they open it, it's just
Or just open.
Erik showed me it just opens, it just
Okay.
opens. I is how he
Well,
showed. I
maybe
don't
it's programmed when they reach a certain maturation to open up on its own. By
Erik says Erik says
biochemistry, the
Erik
fluid levels and all that.
Erik says that's they're very intelligent, and that Erik is like going yes, yes. So
Okay,
I
so
would say
the
yes.
baby, okay, the baby comes out. Does it cry like a regular human baby? Does somebody take it? Do they nurse it? Do they feed it? I mean, what? Tell me what happens in the first month or two.
Erik says they don't nurse the babies like we do because they're not requiring that per se. Like,
Okay.
because for us, the purpose for nursing is to give them the antibodies and blah, blah,
Oh
blah,
yeah,
all that.
yeah.
But Erik says they don't need that type of, but they do get fed something that's similar to like a formula, he said, but it has other um, he says like minerals or something in there,
Okay. Just
and
all they need, I
it's
guess.
it's a special it's a special blend because it's a hybrid child.
Yeah.
So you got to have something that's accommodating to both, because the majority of these children will make it to here, will come to the planet Earth.
Oh, so where are these little seedling farms? Are they on another planet or a mothership or on
Uh,
Earth?
he says yes, they're on other planets, but I also feel like I see ships, so that they're on ships as well.
Okay.
You know, yes, he says yes, they are. He's
Okay. Do
showing
they
me.
suckle from a bottle?
Um, Erik says it's equivalent to something like that. It's equivalent to something like that. But he says you have to remember these hybrid children are further advanced than us here. So, you know, the purposes of us like sucking on a bottle and stuff like that, he says, because we need those kind of sucking skills to help form our brain.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
kind of motor skills, I
Oh, yeah.
guess you would call it, are all of that's needed for the functions of our body. Um, and these kids, not that our children here are dumb by any means. That's not what Erik is saying. But, these children are bred for higher, e- higher, they evolve, they're bred to evolve in a much
Oh,
higher dimension and
when
stuff like that.
when they're out of the capsule, are they loved? Are they nurtured?
Oh yes, oh
So
yes.
they get love, right?
Oh, Erik says yes. There's no. Um, Erik is saying there's none of this abandonment stuff, none of this leaving the stuff at the fire station, and
Ugh.
none of this. I wish I wouldn't
Did
have
they
done
get
this.
human emotion kind of love? First of all,
Erik says.
what kind of
Erik says.
alien race is it that that was that half of the hybrid? Well, maybe
Erik,
there's more than one. I don't know.
there's more than one. Like the star seed, the planets in there. He says, they're all.
Like Pleiadians, maybe, or
Yeah, Pleiadians, and one that starts with an A. He's telling me
Antares.
something.
I just made that up.
I'm not very good with
Arcturian,
stuff.
Arcturian.
I, Erik says yes. He says you're close. Yeah, he said yeah. And
Ooh.
there's others in there, but he says they come from um, other planets. He's showing me there's a blue planet or something with blue, like
Hmm.
it's. Mm.
Who's there, Eric? Maybe the tall whites. Are they part of it?
He said yeah, they are.
All right. What is the, well, it's not important what the blue planet is, I guess, but all right, what is the purpose?
Um, Erik says there's a lot of one is they're vibrating in a higher dimension than what we are in now, and it's as Erik has shown me, they're like helping us to raise up our vibration to get into that dimension as we go into this shift, as we've been going into it. And it's kind of like, you go when you're having trouble in math, you go to somebody who's very adversed in it for help, and these children are coming in to help us. And there's some children that are here doing this, but they're extremely sensitive to what's going on. So some of them have a real challenging time being here
Yeah.
because they don't need everything.
Are they all in one place, like in one community? Or are they in and among us, being raised by, finished raised by, being raised by humans, or where are
Eric,
they?
Eric says both, and but he says if you Google, you will see that there's people who have questioned their children or know that they have these children, and so there is a community here on Earth to where people can talk about this. I'm gonna have to Google that when I get off.
Okay, but these must be people who adopt them, since they are already raised, in at least in part, by male aliens.
Well, they didn't. Eric is saying that some of these are children who have been born here, and it's also, and he also says there's some walk-ins.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so is there one big community somewhere? I mean, this is Bridget Nielsen. There's apparently an expert in that, and I don't know in what way. Um, but so maybe we could discuss her. And also, is there some big community like inside of a mountain of Utah? I don't know, whatever, that has a lot of these hybrid kids?
Well, Eric says that Bridget lady has done tons and tons and tons of research
Yeah.
on this because somehow or another this affects her personally, and I feel like
How? Oh,
she has a connection some way in there, with it. Um, from what I'm understanding, I feel like her privacy and that kind of stuff is respected. So I don't know
yeah,
if she's talked about that. I'm thinking she would have though. But she has done a lot of research on this, and a lot of findings is what Erik is saying. Are they tucked away in like a cave in Utah or a mountain? They're not tucked away in that, but he says it's almost like there's a community of them. There's pods of them where they're being homeschooled and stuff like that because Erik says, our school systems are not the greatest here,
yeah,
and because we want all our kids to be in this little box, and these children are not for this box.
yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
Mhm.
Okay, so how does the diaspora happen? How do they, raised by the male aliens, how do they find their way into the human population, into human families? For example, does one hybrid go back to the mother that conceived it? Or, I mean, how just everything, anything you know, and then some.
Erik says, yes, that can happen, that it can go back to the mother. Sometimes he says the mother chooses to leave and she has a walk-in and she goes where they are and
Oh,
joins the tribe, so
oh,
to speak.
wow.
Um, but then I don't know if there's like a soul exchange, and I guess that would be a walk-in though, like a soul
Yeah.
exchange is how he's showing me a soul exchange. It's like, okay, Susie, go. Sam's coming. I
Same
don't,
hybrid kid is coming. Does,
yeah, like they
does
just
it make the Sam's body change, or whoever sees it, whatever? Does it change to look more like a hybrid? And I want to talk about physical appearance too. So
he says that there is a distinct difference, and this is some of why the parents are questioning things, about their children because they notice that there's a difference. Not that they're freakishly different, but there's a difference.
like larger eyes, right?
He just said that.
Mm.
Bigger eyes, bigger eyes. He's showing me like the forehead is different. He's
In
saying
what
it's
way?
more
Big.
space in between here. There's like more space, like the forehead's just bigger.
Okay.
Uh, um,
Well, I thought everybody was conscious about it. So these parents have no idea they're raising Some of them don't have any idea they're raising hybrids. The conscious thing is the humans that conceive it, right? And they know
Correct.
what's going on. But
Correct.
these other parents are the ones that somehow maybe they get a walk-in exchange of their own child with a hybrid, and they don't know
But
what's
they
going
agreed to
on.
that though. Erik says it's all contractual. It's all
Oh yeah,
contracted. It's not like it's not like switched at birth type thing where you didn't know you're
oh,
raising the wrong
I
baby.
love that series. I wish it was on again.
I know,
Great
but
one.
um, but he says that he goes, everybody is knows, and he goes, and that's why some parents, he goes, sometimes the dad recognizes it first, or the mom, or the sibling, and then they'll have this thought like something's different with this child, and
Wait,
then
so
the
wow, Susie, you have changed overnight. Your forehead's bigger and your eyes are bigger.
and
Is it like
sometimes they look,
something happens in before birth that the switch happens?
yes, yes.
Oh, I
And
see.
sometimes these children don't look nothing like the rest of the family. But
Mhm.
he does say that they do try
Uh-oh,
to stay
the
close.
postman has been busy.
Yes. He says they do try to stay close, some resemblance, especially when they know they're going to be coming back.
Right.
So um, I guess, you're not a brunette coming into an all blonde, blue eyed family
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
But
So,
yeah.
but the ones that are created in capsules and are raised by the male aliens, how do they work themselves into human society?
Um, Erik says there's some that choose to wait to they um, and I'm asking him because he says like they're walking spell. I'm like, okay, so how does that switch the body and how does all that work? And he's showing me, and you know, I, uh, how he's showing me, it's like it's almost like the body changes when
Hmm.
there's a walk, and the appearances change and stuff like that. And when he's saying that, it makes me think of, because I personally know of a walk-in that I met 20 plus years ago, and
Yeah.
she showed me her pictures before and after, and she is
Really?
completely different.
Oh.
Everything about her is
Yeah,
different.
I know one too, a blog member.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like bizarre how different.
Wow. So Eric, if you want, it might help. Can you bring in one of the or a spokesperson for the hybrid kids, or a hybrid kid or two, so we can, if we need a little extra help with this, we have them to go to.
Erik says he will bring in like a spokesperson because, um, from my understanding, they're pretty protective of their children.
Oh gosh, I can imagine. So, well, we're going to talk to somebody who is not a hybrid, but a spokesman for the hybrid community.
Erik says yes,
All right.
yes.
So, do some of them just grow up to be adults, and then like they go out and it's like, okay, here's my resume. I want a job, and then they enter the job force. They get married to whatever. I mean, does that sometimes happen?
He said yes, yes, if that was the agreement of what was going to happen, with the purpose. Because Erik is telling me that a lot of this is already arranged before the human
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the alien consummate.
Mm,
Like they know that they're not going to be having their children,
right.
but somehow on a energetic level, and or you can travel, like astral travel in your sleep, because some people are extremely gifted at that,
Yeah.
do that very well, and connect and stuff. And that's how they connect with their children, and that's how, he says, because some of these women really enjoy being a part of this, but they really don't want to be the ones raising their children.
So is it always the female human that carries the seedling? I mean, initially until they get popped into a capsule.
He says here, yes.
Okay, so
He says here
other planets, yeah, but
because
it's still what?
I'm asking him, is it ever role reversal? I ask him if it's
Oh,
role
yeah.
reversal where they use a male here for a female there. I'm asking if there's role
Oh,
reversal with that.
cool.
And he says that happens sometimes, but not as often as female to the ET type. It's
Okay,
more.
human female, ET male.
Mhm.
Okay. So the one thing I don't get is, you have walk-ins, but that's just the spirit goes into, a body and before birth. But what about all these ones that are hatching out of the capsules? I mean, where do they go? How do they intersperse with humans?
Erik is showing me it's almost like, and he says, I'm doing this for, and so we can better understand. But you know how, like on Star Trek, and they'd say, "Beam me up, Scotty," and it'd have those fluid lights or go into
Oh
that
yeah,
tube.
right.
Erik is showing me that it's kind of similar to that because those children then come down here, and but they don't have to take um, light years to get here. They can just, they know how to say, I'm going to be here, and then they're here.
Yeah, but what age are they usually when they just beam themselves down here? I mean, are they self-sufficient by that time, or do they?
No, they still need guidance. They're not as needy children, Erik says, as ours are.
But do they beam
And he doesn't
themselves?
mean that in an ugly way either.
Yeah, no. But do they just beam themselves into a family that's already expecting the child and all that? I mean, just if you can give me details, and you, Mr. or Mrs. Spokesperson, you can step up to the plate and elucidate the matter if you could.
And I hear in a very strong male, masculine energy voice, thank you. um, it's all, it's not that they're dropping off kids like parachutes, dropping things. It's, from what I'm understanding, it's like it's been prearranged, and whoever the family is, um, and a lot of times it's the people who gave birth, and I'm asking, okay, so how, because it's like they're showing me where they have the kid at 6 years old or something like that, and I'm saying, how do they, how, they're not really showing me how that part gets here,
Oh, well, maybe it should be. Maybe it's a secret.
it's because I'm like, is it adopted? Like, and I don't get that it's like
Okay, so we're not supposed to know
I'm
that.
just
Okay, I
not
understand.
getting, I'm not getting everything. And I'm thinking, read the Bridget book, maybe. She,
Okay,
I
so
don't
cool.
know.
Maybe my character Itty Bitty Betty, which I told those stories to the kids since they were little. Maybe she's one of those hybrid kids, but she's super tiny. Maybe she's an ET, a little small, creepy ET.
My mother used to talk about aliens back in the 60s
Oh, I don't know.
and early 70s, and she would say, they could look just like you, and we used to think she was nuts, and she was
We
just,
are. We were. Okay,
she's,
so let's talk more about the
yeah.
differences. Well, first of all, how many are there on Earth now? And how many are in capsules or in some form of gestational stage on planets or motherships or whatever? So let's talk about Earth first. How many? Más o menos.
Thousands.
Wow. Where are
Thousands.
where are most of them? I mean, what part of the world?
They're all over the world. They're strategically placed because their energy is needed on different parts.
Ah, is there one place that they have more than?
But I feel like what I'm understanding, when they're strategically placed because they need that energy is needing balance, I do not feel like they're put in harm's way.
Oh, good.
So I don't feel like they're put in a country that's real volatile or anything like that right
Okay.
now.
So, how many are not on Earth but in space or planets or motherships, etc.?
I'm getting hundreds of thousands.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask more about what they're here to do. But first, let's back up and go to what they look like. Larger eyes, larger forehead, anything else with their digits, their anything, the internal organs, any other subtle or not so subtle differences?
Their DNA, he says, is very different from ours. Very, very different. Um,
Is it made of the same like carbon and all that, or is it like based on something else like silica?
he said, yes, it's based on what we have in us, but it's more. He just says it's
Okay.
more defined, whatever that means. It's more defined. But um, I there's something to do with their teeth. I don't know. He's showing me their teeth. I don't know if they have like. I feel like maybe they might not have as many roots on their molars or something. That might
Well,
be, or
but
they might
fake
have more.
spokesperson, tell us
Um,
what's up with the teeth? They gonna put dentists out of work?
he he's saying their teeth are they're just more solid. There's something about them that's more solid. How there's something he's showing me with the teeth, and what I'm getting and understanding is that the root structure and everything in there, and their teeth don't it doesn't succumb to decay as quickly as ours would.
Okay. Are their personalities or emotions different than humans?
They're both saying no. They're the same because they're a hybrid. They're half us, but
Like maybe they're more stable, less inclined to have
they're more serious because they don't because there's such an understanding. They have such an understanding of things, and
different.
they can pick up on energy, and so they don't gravitate into fear as quickly
Ah,
as some of us would. And I also am getting that they're very protected, very guarded. So
mm.
I don't feel like they would be in a family where you would see a 3-year-old walking in the middle of the street at
Or
night
that
by.
no abuse or things like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
But Eric says sometimes that can happen, and that was already arranged. But
okay.
for the most part, he says they're pretty protected because they're so, as we say, very sensitive because their energy, they just pick up on so much, and they're very mature soul wise,
Mhm.
very mature.
All right. Do they have any differences in their senses compared to the five senses compared to humans? And do they have abilities that human children don't have, like telepathy, whatever? I don't know.
Their hearing is real keen,
Okay.
very keen. The hearing is real keen, and they intuitively know to study their inside vibration. They're showing me it's like um, they know to like go in and study that, like check their vibration on the inside to see what's going on.
Okay.
Instead of us, we go out and reach for a pack of cigarettes or cake or gum or whatever, and they just know to
So,
go inside and kind of like regulate themselves.
oh, I see. Okay. Do they have a longer or shorter lifespan than we do? Obviously, it seems like they probably heal better or don't even get diseases as easily, right? But
When you ask that, they're showing me sometimes it can be shorter here, but it continues on the other side. And it's not, I don't feel like it's the same continuation like as if I croaked today and then crossed over. I feel like
really,
these
how is it different?
hybrids,
Wow.
like if they just jump into another body automatically over there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Over where?
to
In,
wherever they're from.
oh, okay. Okay. Are they more alien or more human, or just does it just depend?
Eric said it just depends, because when you're asking that, it's like it just depends on where they are, you know. And it is challenging. Um, that's why they don't like to send them here too young or have too many here too young, unless
Right.
um, I just don't have a large vocabulary to explain what they're
Well, there
saying.
isn't a vocabulary probably for this kind of thing.
Well, I don't feel like there is, but
Yeah.
it's like, what was the question? My mind just went blank. I'm trying to figure out what they're saying.
I mean,
And
what lifespan? Oh no, are
oh,
they more human or more? So the
it,
lifespan varies, and they don't get as sick as easily, right?
correct,
Heal
because when
better.
because they know how, because Eric is saying, because they know to go in and like check out where their
Mm.
imbalance is, and so they go there and do stuff. They're not,
So they can
um,
heal themselves.
yes, and they're very sensitive to the intake of food that we eat here,
Yeah.
because that a lot of our food can make people sick, just
So
even
so
us.
they take care of their bodies probably better than we do.
Yes, because they
Okay.
don't have Oreos on whatever planet they're on.
What?
They don't have Oreos on the
Oh
planet
wow,
that
poor
they're
guys. That's horrible. I don't like Oreos. They're gross. Um, do they have other abilities like telepathy? I can't remember.
You did ask that and I didn't answer. He
Oh,
said
okay, that's why.
yes, they do have telepathy. They know how
Self
to create.
healing, probably.
Yes,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
they know how to create. They know how to, they know how to, they communication is not an issue from what understanding, like, how here we have a communication problem, like, I'm sorry, I perceived you said this,
Yeah,
but
right.
there the communication is very clear and understanding. I
With
don't feel
him,
like they
with each
get.
other. I mean, because they have to talk to our asses,
I,
and we don't
I
know.
don't feel like that, as my daughter would say. I don't feel like they get butt hurt as much over there like we do here,
Mhm.
and that's some of the things from what I'm understanding with what's being said is that the children here, these hybrids that are starting to come in, they're like not understanding like why certain things are being said or done or whatever, because um, they're not used to so much violence.
Yeah. Are any of them have any of them reached the point of adulthood yet, or are they still children?
Eric says, we do have people here living that are in adulthood from other
Okay.
planets. Are they the hybrid
Like,
children like we're talking about?
yeah.
Eric says yes, there are some. Yes, he says yes.
Okay. Does the government know about hybrid children? And if so, what's going on with them?
When you ask that, I'm getting that the government probably knows, but they don't have their hand in it dictating what is and isn't happening.
Good. Okay, well, Eric, is it? Do they? I mean, do they know most of the government?
He showed me a small portion does.
Do they have nefarious plans for these kids?
Eric says no. That's
No.
because that's not
Well,
the
they really
arrangement.
say no, but yeah, they'll leave that.
Eric says no because Eric says women would not agree to have this.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, um, will these children grow to breed with humans and create a Gen 2 hybrid race?
Eric says yeah. Eric says yeah. A good portion of them will. He said yeah.
Okay, why are they here? That's the main question. Is that it feels like they're here to raise the vibration of the planet, but that's kind of general. So maybe you or the spokesperson, who has been very silent to date, can explain what's the purpose and how will they achieve the purpose?
Um, and this is coming from the spokesperson. They're here to help bring us into the other dimensions that we're shifting
Oh,
into.
oh, like ascension. Hey, what's
Yeah,
going on with this hairpiece? God, what is this? Like a little comet, comet tail. All right,
lick it.
here, let's take care. Let's here. All right. It was just like, it's going rogue. Um,
But it's to help. But it's to help equalize. Um,
what do you mean?
it's like kind of. He's saying like when your pool is not in balance, the pH is high or whatever, and you have to bring things in to make it, where everything is balanced so that your pool doesn't turn green or doesn't burn your eyeballs. And these children are here, these hybrids are here to bring balance, to this planet. But it's and it when you say it's generalized, he's shown me it sounds generalized, but it really isn't, because this is what we've been striving for, us as humans been
Mhm.
striving for he's right over here too, by the way. What we've been striving for, and we're like, we're lost, we need direction. So we're calling in the troops, so to speak.
So that's why. So they thought, oh, you guys are messed up.
And
Let's
so
bring in the cavalry.
yes, and
So
so
this was decided when in our human history did aliens say, "Oh God, they are really a major f up. Let's intervene with hybrid children." When did that happen? With Adam and Eve? I'm kidding.
I know. Well, when you said that, this decision was made a long time ago, because it's like, okay, we're all coming here from all these different places, and we're
Yeah.
kind of doing okay, but then we start running stupid, and it's like, okay, now. Um, and Eric says, not to get too worried about it, because it really is just a game, he's saying.
Oh yeah.
But and I've heard this before, like, there's no way we're going to destroy this planet. We'll destroy ourselves
Oh
first.
yeah. Of course.
And so these children, these hybrids are here to like help us to get to that next level. And when I say that, they're showing me like, bring awareness to the pollution, the lack of whatever it is that we're running out of resources, like we're abusing one, and
Mm.
it's helping to bring awareness to a lot of things. And these hybrids don't require a lot of stuff, like say I did, to make us content or happy, or what we think is content and
Yeah.
happy. Like, they're just,
Nice.
because they know how to go in and just kind of tweak their insides to get them in balance. And that's the only reason why we search on the outside for all these things, because we're not imbalanced on the inside.
The four roommates you talk about, Eric, the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, they have to be in alignment. Have they done this before in human history, like in the Egyptian time? I don't care, whatever. That all of a sudden inserted hybrid kids to raise the vibration, or is this something that's just now happening?
No,
Now?
no, Eric says this happened like eons ago too.
Oh, so there've been what, more than one time where
Yes,
have intervened by creating hybrid children?
yes.
That is
He
so
said
cool. Because
that is.
how do they help us with ascension? Is it just their mere presence, their energy, or are there specific things that they do?
Eric says all of that. He says their energy is huge though, because it's like you just cannot be in that energy and behave stupid anymore.
Yeah, okay.
And they bring a lot of what we would call disruption to the planet, but what they're bringing is awareness and light on things
Wow.
also. And so, this is yeah, this is what they're doing. Because and when he's saying there's something about some of these young kids, like really young kids under the age of 10, and I can't think of anything specific, but I just remember these phenomenal young kids inventing things that it's
I
like,
know.
duh,
Yeah.
just like basic, simple things. And Eric saying, you're on to something, Denise. You're on to something, is what he's saying. Yes.
So these are very, what do you call it? Prodigal kids, I guess. So, are there any of these hybrid kids anywhere in my family, or uh, or will there be?
He
It's
said,
okay to say no.
he says, no, Mama, there isn't. He says, but he says, you'll be the first to know when there is one.
Okay. Could there be one in the future, like grandkid or something?
There's not any arrangements at this time, he says.
Okay. All right. Well, how do they decide who needs to get the hybrid kid, grandkid, whatever? I know we have to close pretty soon. I got one more question.
Well, Eric says these women search these things out. It's like they have a fascination with this extraterrestrial type environment, and then they get involved or they have contact somehow, and it just doesn't fear they're not fearful of it, like
Yes,
when
they know it's a contract, right?
yeah, it's just very familiar to them.
Oh, okay.
And so then they start Eric says, like, well, we would start like a courting procedure, like they're
Oh,
dating or something, and then from there, and he says, but it is a very
like
it's a physical it's
Bumble ETs.
yeah, it's a physical type of attraction, but yet it isn't,
Okay.
because I feel like their body
Get it.
responds physically.
Yeah. All right. So, let's say a hybrid child is kind of close by. Would you recognize his or her energy? And would it affect your own energy? I mean, would it seem like higher energy or whatever?
Eric says yes, yes, yes. He says one of the things, you know, um, if you have just even a little bit of awareness,
Hmm.
um, he said you would pick up real easy, like there's something special about that kid.
I got you.
And
Do
then
you
if you're
hear
around,
that? High energy, that kind of thing?
just their energy is different, and you would just know like something. And then if you're around that kid, like say a week or 2 weeks or something, you would notice how they're real intelligent, but not so intelligent to where you can't converse with them.
There's freakish, carny intelligence. All right,
Right.
last question. and then I want you to give your information, or I will. How do they choose the moms to carry to conceive these hybrid children? I know it's by contract, but how? What happens?
Erik says it's like how you chose dad to marry. You know, you got married to dad. It's a mutual agreement. They just start meeting each other, and then they're like, yeah.
Okay, all
I
right.
feel like a lot of that has to do with, though, because how they feel physically when there's relationships going on, how they feel inside physically is just kind of like, I gotta have more. And
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, and then, you know, and it's like, then they start having this amazing relationship and talking and stuff.
ET Human Porn Channel. I see the future. All right, now one more question, and then, all right, is when you talk about intelligence, is it and are we talking about emotional intelligence or intellect intelligence or both?
Erik says
Both.
both,
Yeah. Okay.
both.
All right, so y'all. Oh, anything else you want to add, guys? Oh, here we go. One more. Followers are. Oh, do any of the followers in Channeling Erik have hybrid children?
Yes.
Ooh, how many?
Erik says there's quite a few, and he says they're quiet about it, you know, but they know who they are.
Okay,
And but Erik is saying a lot of these children have like this amazing purple energy around them, like their aura is this amazing purple color.
Maybe they should start a hybrid parents of hybrid children CE, blog member group. That'd be funny.
Erik says there's a Facebook out.
Oh,
so I'll have to look that up.
Okay. All right. So anything else you want to share, Mr. Spokesperson or Erik, on hybrid children? I think we've covered a lot.
Well, and he is saying, as he says, Mr. Erik has done a very good job of translating for them. I feel like he's just here to like say, no, that's not correct.
Yeah.
And he's more critiquing it more, but he's very pleased with Erik. He's like really complimenting him on how.
My boy.
I know.
I love you, Erik. I'm so proud of you. And thank you, Denise, for doing this. You guys got to check her out, DeniseRamon.com, which I'll put here. She's going to be part of a 3-medium group reading at my house. I don't know if I'll post this before, but anyway, it's going to be October 26th, 2019. And so I plug it all the time on social media and the blog. Talk to you later, guys.
Bye. He says, bye, Mama. He says, I love you.
I love you more.
He's just giving you big kisses. Oh.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.